Hello, in this video, we're going to tackle a fun and classic type of problem known as an age-word problem. Age-word problems. These problems can seem a bit tricky at first, but with a good strategy, they're quite straightforward. By the end of this lesson, you will be able to translate the words in a story problem about ages into a mathematical equation. Our learning goal is to be able to set up and solve these equations. Ready? Let's dive in. Here is the problem we'll be solving today. It says, Phil is Tom's father. Phil is 35 years old. 3 years ago, Phil was 4 times as old as his son was then. How old is Tom now? Okay, that's a lot of information. The first step is to break down the story into key pieces of information. Step 1. Read the problem carefully and write down all the facts. Let's highlight the facts as we read them again. Fact 1 is that Phil is Tom's father. This tells us Phil is older, which is a good check for our final answer. Fact 2 is that Phil is 35 years old right now. This is a solid number we can work with. Fact 3, and this is the most important one, describes a relationship between their ages in the past. It says 3 years ago, Phil's age was 4 times Tom's age. Finally, we have the question. The question asks for Tom's current age. This is our unknown, the number we need to find. Now we have our facts. The next step is to use them. In algebra, when we have an unknown, we represent it with a variable. In this case, we need to find Tom's age. So let's say step 2 is to assign a variable to the unknown. A great way to organize our thoughts is to create a table. A table helps us keep the ages straight for different people at different points in time. Let's draw a simple table with 2 rows for Phil and Tom, and 2 columns for age now and age 3 years ago. The question asks for Tom's age now. So, let's use the variable t to represent Tom's age now. We know Phil's age now is 35. Let's put that in the table too. Great. Now, let's figure out the ages from 3 years ago. If Tom's age now is t, how old was he 3 years ago? 3 years ago, Tom's age would have been his current age minus 3. So, his age then was minus 3. And what about Phil? His age now is 35. How old was he 3 years ago? We subtract 3 from his current age. 35 minus 3 is 32. So Phil was 32 3 years ago. Our table is now complete. We have expressions for everyone's age at both time periods. This makes the next step much easier. Now we have our information organized. Let's look at the key relationship given in the problem. It states, 3 years ago, Phil was 4 times as old as his son was then. This sentence is the clue we need to write our equation. Let's translate this sentence piece by piece using the values from our table. The phrase 3 years ago, Phil was, refers to Phil's age 3 years ago. Looking at our table, we see that was 32. The word was is often a keyword for equals in math, so we can write an equal sign. Next, 4 times as old as his son. Times means multiplication, so this is 4 times Tom's age then. And what was Tom's age then? From our table, it was t minus 3. We write this as t3, using parentheses to show that we are multiplying 4 by the entire expression. And just like that, we have our equation. It's 32 equals 4 times the quantity t minus 3. This equation perfectly captures the relationship from the word problem. We've successfully translated the story into mathematics. We've done the hard part of setting up the problem. Now, the final step is to solve the equation we created. Our equation is 32 equals 4 times the quantity t minus 3. Let's solve it. To solve this, our goal is to get the variable t by itself on one side of the equation. The first thing we can do is distribute the 4. This means we multiply 4 by t and 4 by 3. 4 times t is 4t, and 4 times 3 is 12. So the right side becomes 4t minus 12. The equation is now 32 equals 4t minus 12. Now, let's get all the number terms on one side. We can do this by adding 12 to both sides of the equation. We have 32 plus 12 on the left and 4t minus 12 plus 12 on the right. On the left, 32 plus 12 is 44. On the right, the minus 12 and plus 12 cancel out. So we are left with 44 equals 4t. We're almost there. We have 4 times t, and we want to find just t. The opposite of multiplying by 4 is dividing by 4. So we divide both sides of the equation by 4. 44 divided by 4 equals t. 44 divided by 4 is 11, so t equals 11. This means Tom's current age is 11 years old. We found that t equals f, but we should always double-check our work. Let's make sure this answer makes sense in the original problem. Let's check our answer. The problem asks for Tom's age now, which we found to be 11, so let's write that down. Tom's age now is 11. The other fact we know is Phil's age. Phil's age now is 35. This is given in the problem. Now let's look at the ages 3 years ago and see if the condition holds. If Tom is 11 now, how old was he 3 years ago? 11 minus 3 is 8. Tom was 8 years old 3 years ago. We know Phil's age 3 years ago was 32. Phil's age 3 years ago was 32. Now for the big test. The problem says 3 years ago, Phil was 4 times as old as Tom. Let's check. Is 32 equal to 4 times 8? Yes, 4 times 8 is indeed 32. Our numbers fit the story perfectly. Since our numbers work, we are confident in our answer. Tom is currently 11 years old. So our final answer is 11 years old. We have successfully translated the word problem into an equation, solved the equation, and verified our answer. Let's quickly review the strategy we used to solve this age word problem. First, we assigned a variable to the unknown. Second, we organized our facts with a table to show ages at different points in time. Third, we translated the relationship from the problem into an algebraic equation. And finally, we solved that equation to find our answer. This 4-step strategy is very reliable. If you can master these steps, you can solve many different kinds of word problems. You have now seen how to set up and solve an age word problem. Thank you for watching. Congratulations! You've successfully completed the video. Feel free to rewatch any part of the lesson for a quick refresher, or move on to your next topic. Practice is key.